In January 2026, Jimin is not releasing new music. He is not appearing on variety shows. He is not posting frequent updates. And yet, his name refuses to fade from global conversation. Across social media platforms, fan communities, and entertainment forums, a quiet question is growing louder by the day. Is Jimin preparing something behind the scenes? There has been no official confirmation, no teaser, no announcement. But for fans who have followed Jimin's career closely, the silence itself feels familiar and meaningful. In the world of BTS, silence has often preceded transformation. This is not the first time Jimin has stepped into a period of low visibility. Historically, moments of reduced public presence have often aligned with intense preparation phases. Fans recall how earlier solo projects, conceptual shifts, and even emotional reinventions were preceded by similar quiet stretches. January 2026 mirrors those moments. There are no contradictions, no denials, just absence. And in the BTS ecosystem, absence is rarely accidental. Jimin has repeatedly spoken in past interviews and documentaries about the importance of readiness. He is known among fans and peers as meticulous, emotionally driven, and deeply self-reflective. Unlike artists who thrive on constant exposure, Jimin has often allowed himself space before returning with something intentional. That approach has shaped both his solo identity and his role within BTS. January 2026 appears to align with that philosophy. The timing matters. Early 2026 is widely viewed as a transitional phase for BTS as a group. Military service cycles are nearing completion, and discussions around group activities have begun to resurface in public discourse. In such moments, individual preparation becomes critical. Industry observers note that artists often work behind the scenes long before public confirmation. Songwriting, vocal direction, concept planning, and internal collaboration frequently occur during periods of apparent inactivity. Jimin's silence fits neatly into that industry reality. Rest is natural. Silence can be healthy. But fans argue that this feels different. Engagement surrounding Jimin has increased, not decreased. Old performances are resurfacing, interviews are being reanalyzed, lyrics from previous works are circulating with new interpretations. This behavior suggests anticipation, not closure. Fans are not reacting to an ending, they are reacting to a pause. Speculation has always been part of BTS's relationship with its audience. The group's history is filled with moments where fans connected subtle dots, sometimes accurately, sometimes imaginatively. But what makes January 2026 unique is the restraint shown by both fans and media. Rather than declaring outcomes, the narrative remains cautious. Something may be happening, but nothing is confirmed. This balance keeps speculation grounded and respectful. One possibility fans discuss quietly is the development of a solo project. Not a confirmed album, not a scheduled release, simply preparation. Jimin's previous solo work demonstrated a willingness to explore vulnerability, identity, and emotional complexity. A new project, if in development, would likely require time, reflection, and privacy. January 2026 offers precisely that. Another possibility shifts focus away from solo ambitions. Jimin may be preparing as part of BTS's collective return, participating in creative discussions, refining vocal direction, or contributing conceptually behind the scenes. In this context, silence is strategic. It allows focus without distraction. For an artist like Jimin, who values cohesion and emotional clarity, this preparation would be essential. Fans frequently point to HYBE's operational patterns. Major projects are rarely announced prematurely. Development often happens quietly, followed by carefully timed reveals. Jimin's silence aligns with that pattern. There is no contradiction between being unseen and being actively involved. Interestingly, mainstream media has adopted a cautious tone. Articles acknowledge Jimin's absence without framing it as concern. Instead, coverage emphasizes his continued influence and relevance despite inactivity. This reflects an industry understanding. Jimin does not need constant visibility to remain central. Fans are not just analyzing schedules, they are reading emotion. Jimin's past statements about growth, responsibility, and self-expectation resurface during moments like this. His words carry renewed weight when contextualized against silence. January 2026 feels introspective, not empty. For many artists, silence is not absence, it is incubation. Creative breakthroughs often emerge from periods of withdrawal. In Jimin's case, this withdrawal feels purposeful. He has never rushed, and fans trust that instinct.
January has historically been a planning month in the entertainment industry. Contracts reset, concepts are finalized, strategies take shape. Jimin's quiet presence during this period feels aligned with long-term thinking rather than short-term promotion. Importantly, fans are not claiming facts. There are no false leaks, no alleged dates, no fabricated confirmations. The speculation remains grounded. Something may be happening, but we don't know what. That restraint preserves credibility. Jimin is acutely aware of expectations. He has spoken openly about pressure, responsibility, and the emotional weight of being watched. Silence, in this context, may be protection, not avoidance. By mid-January 2026, one thing is clear. Even without speaking, Jimin is communicating, not through announcements, but through timing, not through noise, but through restraint. And that restraint has become the story itself. For longtime observers of BTS, Jimin's current silence evokes familiar memories. In the past, some of the group's most defining artistic shifts were preceded by periods where individual members stepped back from public view. These moments were often misunderstood at the time, only to be recontextualized later as preparation phases. Fans now draw parallels between those earlier transitions and January 2026. The absence of public updates does not signal disengagement. It mirrors a pattern of focus and recalibration that has historically led to meaningful artistic outcomes. Jimin's silence, in this sense, feels less like a pause and more like a prelude. Anticipation does not emerge randomly. It is shaped by trust built over time. Fans anticipate Jimin's next move because his past actions have taught them to value patience. He has consistently returned from quiet periods with work that feels intentional rather than rushed. Psychologically, this creates a unique dynamic. Silence increases confidence rather than concern. Instead of fearing inactivity, fans interpret restraint as deliberation. In January 2026, that psychology is clearly at play. The waiting itself has become a shared emotional space between Jimin and his audience. Modern celebrity culture often equates relevance with constant exposure. Jimin challenges that assumption. His influence persists even without active participation in promotional cycles. His performances, interviews, and music continue to circulate organically, sustaining engagement without direct input. This ability to remain central while unseen speaks to the depth of his connection with the public. Jimin is not dependent on algorithms. His presence is embedded in memory and emotion. January 2026 reinforces this truth. One notable aspect of the current discourse is its restraint. Unlike moments in pop culture where silence triggers rumors or alarm, the conversation around Jimin remains measured. Fans emphasize well-being, privacy, and artistic autonomy rather than urgency. This reflects a maturing relationship between artist and audience, one built on understanding rather than entitlement. Speculation exists, but it is framed as curiosity, not demand. As January 2026 continues, there is still no confirmation of what Jimin may be preparing, if anything at all. And yet, the lack of answers has not diminished engagement. Instead, it has strengthened trust. Fans wait not because they are promised something, but because history has shown them that Jimin values meaning over immediacy. In an industry driven by constant output, this quiet moment stands out. Whether the silence leads to a solo project, a contribution to BTS's next chapter, or simply a period of reflection, one truth remains unchanged. Jimin's absence is not empty, it is intentional, and the world is listening. Time has always played a central role in how Jimin approaches his artistry. Unlike trends that prioritize speed and visibility, Jimin's career has demonstrated a belief in timing, waiting until emotion, intention, and readiness align. This philosophy has shaped his performances, his music, and even his public presence. In January 2026, time feels deliberate rather than accidental. There is no rush, no visible urgency. Instead, there is a sense of alignment quietly forming beneath the surface. For an artist whose work often explores vulnerability and self-awareness, this approach feels consistent rather than concerning. One of the most notable evolutions surrounding Jimin's career is the way fans engage with him today. The dominant tone in January 2026 is not entitlement, it is observation. Fans are watching, listening, and waiting without demanding answers. This shift reflects a deeper respect for artistic autonomy. Jimin is no longer viewed solely as an entertainer expected to deliver content on schedule, but as a creator allowed space to exist between projects. That mutual respect shapes the current atmosphere of speculation.